the headlines of the Voice newspaper read, World Bank allocates $135 million to health sector. And of course, 4 ambassadors present letters of credence to President Barrow. Workshop in Bamako on elimination of child labor. 2 IFAD associates vice president on official visit to Senegal and the Gambia. That's the Voice.
Okay, moving on. Here we have in GUM Petroleum's economic crime case, 2 managers from 2 companies testify. And CRRC recommends reparation of exiled Ndigal followers. And also the National Human Rights Commission report, BMONS, continues discrimination against persons with disability in the Gambia. And government announces reduction in price of fertilizer. And also, yeah, I think that is all here.
Yes, the Point newspaper reads, government reduces fertilizer price from $2,500 to $2,000. Research shows most hate speech in Gambia occurs on social media. The government agrees to implement ECOWAS court decision on impunity. And of course, Egypt gives government IT equipment worth $150,000 US. UNICEF observes Day of the African Child focus to end FGM in the Gambia.
All right, I think we will not do justice when it comes to this conversation if we do not start with the Day of the African Child, which is today. You know, Mr. Mboj, what's, you know, the Day of the African Child, when you hear that, what does it remind you and what do you think we should all reflect on?
For me personally, it doesn't remind me of anything. I have my views about children, and every day is a bit like the Day of the African Child. Okay. As a parent, that's just how it is. Okay. You know, I don't live with them. I've got two young kids. But the world, you know, UN designated days like this. It's just sort of to keep such ideas, such themes on the foreground of our minds. Yeah. You know, every year it does something. You know what I mean? It marks it, it commemorates it, it tells us that it is special. It makes it, it tries to put it on the agenda of really of what we should be thinking about. So it does something. This is what commemoration means. And yes, we should discuss it on a day like today. What does it mean? I mean, earlier on you were just talking about child labor in Bamako. That in itself really spells out the difficulties, the challenges all African countries face. Even over here, we've known about that. So what do you do with stuff like this? Well, without the infrastructural elements, a lot of things are not going right. Every year we market, we say all sorts of lofty things, but again, on the ground, it seems movement is very slow.
Yeah, movement is very slow. To take it up from there, the CS team has to do with, you know, putting a stop to harmful traditional practices, you know, giving a special focus to FGM, which the laws are there, child marriage the laws are there, child labor the laws are there, like you mentioned, but still, you know, there's a lot of room for improvement when it comes to all of these practices.
And there's something else. I was talking to an official, a State Department official in a discussion the other day, actually on the Viewpoint, which air tonight. And I made a suggestion to this State Department official that it seems that you've got your agenda, you've got certain items, gender equality, FGM, and all of these things. But it appears that with these issues, it will take a longer term project really to deal with that. In the shorter term, help me to build my economy, good education, and that's where the change will begin. Without that basic infrastructure, most change will be very slow. Because social attitude, social outlook is been correlated, linked to one's education. So that must be my focus really if I want to change attitudes. Yeah. Yeah. So my economy doing well, therefore I can spend in everything else. But it appears as if they focus, they think that if you take care of that first, then the economy will be right. I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
I think take care of my economy, the basic stuff first, then it will be easier, because these things are about attitudes, which is always a generational long-term project.
Yeah.
How many times have we had workshops talking to people, doing all sorts of things? It just doesn't work like that. It takes a generation. So this is quite interesting. It's a very interesting debate, I think, in development studies.
I mean, every year it is commemorated. I mean, the Day of the African Child. But I mean, it's important for us to ask ourselves, how far have we gone? I mean, to support children, to empower them. I mean, that's a big question that we should ask ourselves. Otherwise, we will be celebrating or we will be commemorating every year.
Yeah, we take a look at education. It's something that is worth taking a look at, you know, because you talked about education as the first point to change concepts. You know, so education, in as much as this is a team, but education at some point should be one of the first steps that need to be taken to ensure the child is learning comfortably when it comes to them getting to school, the accessibility, putting the accessibility aside, you know, the quality of the education as well we are talking about is very important. We've also even seen children going through the back way. You know, because of, you know, the harsh environment that they've seen. Things have gone to that extent. So I think generally, like you mentioned, Mr. Mboch, it's not just, you know, a day thing. We should just treat the Day of the African Child on a daily basis to just ensure that we treat these things, you know, it's not just the day, but the UN just sets it aside to ensure that there's a day. We generally just sit to reflect on it on a general basis, but it's an everyday thing,
but
especially
exactly.
for parents.
Exactly. So it helps. I mean, on a day like today, maybe as a parent, I may reflect on perhaps the relationship with my children.
Yeah.
Do I go to PTAs? Do I do the little boring, difficult stuff? Maybe it's a day to reflect that. As a teacher at school, maybe it's a day to reflect. Am I committed enough? Do I go that extra mile? So everybody, you know, just as an adult.
Yeah, but we can also, as a country, point at significant strides that have been made, which has to do with, you know, the putting together of the Children's National Assembly, which directly involves children one way or the other in terms of decision-making processes, because they do come up with their reports, and then that is sent to the Department of Social Welfare and other departments. So I think, and also the forming of a ministry for children, which never existed. So fine, we have so much room for improvement, but there are certain things that we can also point at to say, at least this is a step towards being better when it comes to the plight of the children as a country.
You are absolutely correct when it comes to process.
Yeah.
We're putting in all sorts of structures and having workshops and all of that.
Yeah.
For me, what I want to measure is outcomes.
Right.
I wonder what impact that is having on the decision makers. What these youth groups and associations, what they're saying. I wonder what impact it is having on decision making.
Yeah.
So there are two things. You have the processes in place, granted, but the outcomes, for me, that is my focus.
Yeah, that is everybody's focus, you know. Like we always say, it's better said than done. There are a lot of things that have to be put in place, really, when it comes to...
well, it's easier said than done.
It's easier said than done, yes. You know, when it comes to children, it's such a big demography, really, that requires lots of resources, lots of attention to change some of the things that they're actually going through, really.
Kids are labor intensive. Kids are so extraordinary. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's it. Really, when I celebrate the child, I'm really celebrating my future. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
You know. So how much I respect my future.
Yeah.
Will depend on, will show, it show itself in how I treat my children.
Another thing that we also need to take a look at is school feeding programs. You know, that's something that I can also point at. The government of the Gambia, you know, they're working on this school feeding program. It used to happen way back. They're bringing it back, whereby when the kids go to school, they know there's food. You know, these are kids. You know, they don't have to be hungry to learn. They have to be okay to be able to. So I think the school feeding programs are also quite significant when it comes to keeping the children in school. The availability of sanitary pads as well. and wash facilities, all of these things.
We had all of that. We even had milk in the morning.
You had milk in the morning?
Absolutely.
No way.
Every day you go to school,
You get milk in the
yes, you had
morning.
milk and the cracked wheat and the domada version that was just delicious. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
We had we had all of that.
Yeah.
The wonderful thing about that is that you may have very rich kids, you may have kids who are not that rich.
Yeah.
But they made sure that everybody was fed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the most
so that was the fantastic concept. It's a fantastic idea. If we can bring it back everywhere, so everybody.
Well, I mean, the school feeding that you're talking about, I think it's a good idea. I mean, we used to have it during our primary school days too. I mean, but for my own case,
well, man, I've never, man, fortunate, man, musuma feke school feeding.
Now, this is a very interesting thing you've just said. Yeah. So that is giving the age difference now.
Yeah, I've never.
And Balder there. There's a trajectory.
Yeah.
A downward trajectory.
Downward.
Every single aspect of the society.
But I mean,
when you look at it,
might be
everywhere.
Might be during
that just exemplifies.
Yeah, I never benefited.
Might be during your days you were getting that for free, right? But for us, during our time, we pay for it.
You used to,
Yes.
But this is
we pay for it.
It's merely confirming what I said. The downward trajectory of the society.
When you talked about it, I mean, bringing it back, I mean, for every child to have access to food. I mean, you know, what I said to myself is, I mean, if a price is not attached to it, because when it is attached to it, then there is no need for it to come back to schools, because
it becomes something else.
Sometimes these things are funded, but you're looking at the sustainability project. When it phase out, can the government of the Gambia continue with it? Then they have to have plans to see how they will continue with it at the end of the day. But the thing is, no child should be hungry. A lot of children are suffering from malnutrition. It's not supposed to happen.
Absolutely.
You know, so yeah. Hopefully.
Some children go to school without lunch, without food,
barefooted,
and they'll have to go to school.
That's the benefit of having this free, having a free lunch at school.
Yeah, so I think we have few minutes to go. So the National Human Rights Commission report bemoans continuous discrimination against persons with disability in the Gambia. We are not there yet as well when it comes to persons with disability and their plight.
This is really what we were talking about. Yes, you have to, well, the processes will be in there. Let's bring in the laws and all the rest of it. But, you know, the biggest challenge would be people's attitudes and what we do and that sort of thing. Yes, and it's good that you've got lots of advocacy groups. They're talking about it. The media, we're talking about it. And the country, a lot of people, 60% or so of you, they're all youth. And I think perhaps youth are sort of easier, as it were, to change, to orient their minds. We can take this opportunity to orient people's minds before they are set in certain ways, sort of in certain dogmas, if we can call it that. So there's hope. Let's just keep on walking at it.
Yeah, but when you look at persons with disability now, I mean, people are getting aware. People are learning a lot, because the media, every day they're talking about it, and people are sensitizing people, you know, on disability rights. You know, I've seen companies where a disabled person won't have access to their office. Now they are changing. But now I've seen people that are changing, making sure they pave a way for people with wheelchair. I've seen that. You know, it's a gradual process. I don't think
but in this situation, I don't think it should be. I don't accept it's supposed to be gradual with this one, because for example, building guy construct learn la come digga. I'm not talking about maybe sign language, because for that there's a limited number of individuals who study it, and that I will call that a gradual process. But when it comes to constructing, there's nothing gradual, because you knew prior to constructing that there's a set of people they're so constructed and I building.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you can't cater for them anymore.
When you look at
so maybe this is where I say processes. That I mean by that would be legislation and what they put in the legislation.
Exactly.
You can insist that certain buildings you must create this facility, this access for the disabled and stuff like that. So it depends on the legislation how you frame it. Maybe you cannot say everywhere, but in certain buildings, absolutely,
it has to
you
be.
identify
There's
them,
no
select
compromise.
them. There must be this.
Yeah, you know what I'll accept, Ibrahim, when we say gradual process.
The
attitude, FGM and stuff, because you know it's cultural. It was deep rooted.
I mean,
but disability, persons with disability,
I understand. Lulu. I mean, it should not be gradual.
Wow.
But I mean, communicating it to the people so that they can understand these people too, they have rights. People are digesting this gradually. That's what I'm saying. You cannot force a person by force, you do this, by force. If a person, well, maybe you're gonna think like that, but another person will not think like that.
True, but disability aspect, Ibrahim, we're not encouraging any gradual process.
No, we should not encourage it. Understand why? I'll tell you something. People are getting used to the information as far as we are communicating it every day.
But I'm saying, I'm saying that these people are part of us. They're human. There's nothing like you take time to understand it. You know it.
At some point,
you were born and you saw these people.
There was a building.
Anyway,
I think you're really talking about the same thing.
But we need to go for a break right now because due to time constraints. So we'll go for a break, and then when we come back, we head to the next segment. And this debate can be a social issue. Is it a debate? Maybe not. We'll be right back.
Q Money, the biggest mobile money service in the Gambia, has taken mobile banking to the next level. Now, you can link your Q Money wallet with your bank account. Yes, link your Ajib or EcoBank accounts with your Q Money wallet and get instant access to your cash anytime. No need to queue at the bank anymore. Transfer funds from your bank account to your wallet or your wallet to your bank account using Q Money Bank Link is the fastest, most secure, and convenient way to transfer funds between your wallet and bank account. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Want it? Order for it and pay quickly using QuickPay on the Q Money platform. With great technology comes ease and convenience. Get a glimpse of what a comfortable life is with Q Money by dialing *323# now. Call 133 for more information. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe.
Check out the all-new Tigo 8 at S-Pass Motors. Call 3522-222 or 353-2222 for more information.
Cherry.
As the fastest growing GSM company in the Gambia, QCell has the widest 4G plus coverage in the country. 3 times faster internet speed than our competitors. So switch now and dial *335# and enjoy what true 4G feels like. QCell, the Gambia's trusted network.
Q Money, the biggest mobile money service in the Gambia, has taken mobile banking to the next level. Now, you can link your Q Money wallet with your bank account. Yes, link your Ajib or EcoBank accounts with your Q Money wallet and get instant access to your cash anytime. No need to queue at the bank anymore. Transfer funds from your bank account to your wallet or your wallet to your bank account using Q Money Bank Link is the fastest, most secure, and convenient way to transfer funds between your wallet and bank account. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply. QCell woni GSM company ɓurɗon janɗude ko leydi Gambia ɗo e QCell 4G plus coverage on ɓuri yawude laaɓi tati ɓe woni poɗodirde ɓen. Waɗu dial star 335# fi wawa nafitorade ko woni 4G. QCell network ɓuraɗo holorede ko leydi Gambia. Check out the all-new Tigo 8 at S-Pass Motors. Call 3522-222 or 353-2222 for more information. Cherry.
Want it? Order for it and pay quickly using Quick Pay on the Q Money platform. With great technology comes ease and convenience. Get a glimpse of what a comfortable life is with Q Money by dialing star 323# now. Call 133 for more information. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe.
QCell GSM company minna yirwa tariyata Gambia Bankoka. QCell la 4G plus network ya banko bela mura. Andung ala internet o tariyata sidula saba katambi nyongola. Sound sign yesta 335# kumande. Yada di kemuna fang 4G sobewa.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. So from the newspaper review, now we head right onto the community watch. Now we're taking a look at human trafficking, you know, Gambian women trafficked and now coming back to their country from Oman. And we are joined by Amadou Chune, president of the association, as well as Ibrahima T. Sanyang as well.
I wonder what is behind.
I'm just trying to emphasize that, but it's fine. You know, that's behind the scenes. The PRO. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. So the association is FATIM. So what does FATIM stand for, actually?
Well, thank you very much. Good morning to all the viewers.
Yeah.
Good morning, this morning show. FATIM simply means Foundation Against Trafficking and Irregular Migration.
Okay. Yeah. So when did this start?
It was an individual initiation.
Okay.
Some years back.
Excuse me.
And last month, we were able to meet him,
okay,
Amadou Chune, who was working alone as an activist,
okay,
and also a music promoter.
Okay.
So we were able to meet last week on social media. We are able to put heads together.
So are you telling me this organization is 1 month old?
Not obviously up to 1 month.
It's not even up to 1 month
not
yet?
Not up to 1 month yet.
And okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So it's a completely new organization.
Completely new.
So which means, Ibrahima, we are not free to ask any successes.
Exactly.
Or
because
anything.
It's
it's
you've
about
not
plans.
been involved into a lot yet.
Yes.
Yes, but we have registered, as long as the foundation is concerned,
okay,
we are able to register a huge success.
Okay, let us know.
Yeah, we have not officially registered yet.
Okay.
Okay, we've just drafted and adopted our constitution just a week ago. But you know, we believe we cannot sit and wait till everything is done officially
before
we start acting.
Okay. So which means the organization does not exist yet because it's not registered.
Yes, by looking at the nature of what we're working for, we believe this of registration and other logistics will take a little time. So we believe we start, the act as soon as we come into agreement, because we already have an executive and each is running the area you are supposed to.
Okay.
So when I say successes, well, we have not registered yet, but we are able to have contact with these girls in Oman, in Qatar and Dubai. So we have over 25 girls in Oman that we are able to contact, establish where they stay, who are they working with, and who took them there.
Okay.
You understand? And then we are able to know the situation in which all of them lives in. So last week we are able to bring 4 girls back to the Gambia, and they camped with us for 2 days, and yesterday they were taken to their various families.
Okay, so tell us the process, you know, Ibrahima. It's important to know where is this money coming from? How did you identify the girls till they're back here?
Because it's not a little money to transport these from Oman to the Gambia.
Exactly. So where's the money coming? Mr. President, do you want to comment, or we allow the PRO to continue?
Let him talk, then I will come. Because we have different things to clarify.
You have different things to clarify. Okay, that's fine.
Yes, regarding the source of funding, as at now, honestly, the 4 girls that came, the fund was from our pockets.
Yen sen bopa yen agini sen halis dina ticket.
Sin pause, yeah.
Really?
Projoge would second?
No, because this executive, it's a 9-man executive, 3 in the diaspora and the rest in the Gambia.
Okay.
So we were able to put heads together, try to say, please do this, or somebody will say, I pledge this, and this is what we did.
Okay.
You know, to bring these girls home, and it might be a surprise too, but we are expecting some this weekend too.
Okay, but on all of those people, this is money coming from your pockets,
from our
not
pockets.
coming from any specific
No,
individual.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Ibrahima.
Yes.
Isn't that interesting?
I am surprised to know. I mean, how different are you from other organizations that will try to advocate for people's right, bringing back people, maybe try to discourage irregular migration, but actually their intention is to gain money from that? How different are you?
Considering maybe we can't, there's no accountability mechanism at this point, considering the money is coming from your pockets, not an organized institution, you know, it might be problematic, really.
Yeah, probably it depends on how structured you are and what is your mission statements. We might be different. I can say clearly we are different with a lot of groups that I'm seeing.
Okay.
You know, we want to set an example. Before we ask people to help us do this, we want to show them this is what we can do and this is where we stop.
Right.
So I think that will be able to help convince a lot of people to say, look, let's come to their aid, because these are people that you know, are really hardworking, and this is what they have done so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
What prompted you to come together? I mean, you would have said, it's not my business. It's the business of the government. Let them try and bring these people back. What prompted you to take up this responsibility and challenge?
Sometimes it's not easy. By looking at, you know, when we had contact with these girls, looking at the conditions in which they're living in, hearing the testimonies of these girls directly, and sometimes through video calls, WhatsApp messages, pictures, it's not easy to, you know, consume. Yeah, you know, it's like the terrible conditions and the hard labors and other sexual harassments in which they live in. As a true Gambian, as a true citizen, I don't think anybody can see and ignore. So this is why we said we cannot wait for the government. We cannot wait for other people. We have to start wherever they meet us, then we proceed with that.
Let's go with the president. But this would love to do it in the local language, if it's possible.
It's not a problem.
waaye Ibrahima pour ñu laaj ko tam parce que nga time bi bariwul noonu suñ ko bëggee bàyyi mu wax moom xëj na ñoom luñ bëgg a waxee duñ ko wax waaye am na organisation bu tudda NATIP mi nga xam ne mu ngi in existence xam nga dafa mel ni NDMA tey sooy donate ñoom ñoo nekk the coordinating body ñoom ngay contact ñu coordinate ngeen donate so NATIP nag moo nekk government institution bi nga xam ne dañ ko taxawal I know you're aware pour fight this trafficking in persons so ma bëggoon a xam rek ndax ut ngeen ndimbal si ñoom pour ñu dimbale leen ngeen mun a assess dëgga the vulnerability of these women because xam nga loolu dafa important comme defu leen nekkul ne da ngeen fa dem physically pour ngeen gisal seen boppa xëy na videos ngeen gis pictures, which can be deceiving. Let's accept some of these things happen, you know. So yen ndax ut ngeen dimbal su ñom su ko defé xej na ñom ñu dimbalé len in terms of data available ak yoyu nonu pour ngeen mëna isi ñi ngeen bëgga indi back. Wa lolu mom amna solo because in as much as organization be structured as we speak, why yu mel nonu xej na ñun dinañu mëna convince ne dega li lu paré pour dem la.
Waaw, asalaamaaleykum maa ngi nuyu Gambia ak QTV ak suma naataango yu ma fi fekk ak ñoo déglu yëpp comme ni nga ko waxee dégg la native contact nañ gars yi ok woog nañ ak gars yi bañ arrest ñi nga xam ne sax some of agents la ñu ngi comme on the bail right now so da ngaa gis ni comme dañ fa di dem every time lu ñoo def dañ dee contact dem ñoom comme gars yi ñu andi woon nii sax yóbbuwoon nañ gars yi ñu dem native ñu def interview everything so ñu nag native réeloo wuñ te nekkul native rek fu like government office yu bëri dem nañ fa ba pare contact nañ high rankers yu bëree bëri concerned about this girl since Oman waaye comme nu mu la ko waxee rek comme waaye ñu andi yëpp ci suñ poste la jógee jógee si benn kenn like government or NGO something like that yëpp suñ poste la jógee loo xam ne lu muy la right now du ñoo dunda
ok léegi yéen lan ngeen séntu pour am si lii comme que xam nga seen poste la jógee xaalis bi xam nga loolu dafa xaw a lu baax la daal xam nga waaye lan ngeen si séntu ba nga xam ne dëgga yéen a ngay jël si seen poste xëj na amoon ngeen mbokk yi nga xam ne sax dëgga you know xëj na soxla nañ xaalis boobu noonu ku seetoon tey waaye si seen mbokk yi waaye dem ngeen ba fiil ne mbokki jàmbur feneen koo xam ne bokku leen moom dara wax dëggu yàlla loolu moom dafa xam nga loolu moom koo ko wax sax dina ne ñii moom dëgga seen xol set na war ngaa seetaat seen mbir soo yéen lan ngeen say séntu ba nga xam ne yéen a génnee xaalis seen poos yi boppa pour ñii ñu ñib si jógewut si benn organisation lan mooy seen séntu yéen
waaw suñ séntu mooy comme play nañ part boo xam ne parce que ñun tey right now ñun duñ mën a toog gis suñ gaal si ñu ngi nekk si yeneen dëkk di ñu call di ñuy jooy di ñu seen ay vidéo yoo xam ne ñuy toog di nelaw duñ ko mën a def ñun séntuwuñ si dara day ay Gambien leen comme ñun ba pare ay jigéen lañ ñu ngi wax ni Fatim Foundation buñ ko fumee yàlla baax mu nga wax ne right now ay Dubai Qatar yëpp ñu ñoo call ñu ngi amee ay kees yu bëri yoo xam ne ñun dañu war a fay pour ñoom ñu nekk si jaama ñu ngi lay wax ne comme léegi nañ ñu mayagum fi mu ne parce que gaal si ñoo gën a ojo ñu nekk Oman ñu ngi laa woon ni 5 moo ñëwaagum ñoo xam ne association bi dima leen bañ ñëw waaye mi ngi mel te des na ay almost ay 18 to 20 yoo xam ñu ngi foofu te ñu ngi live very hard condition there yaa ngi gis so ñun right now mënuñoo ne mënuñoo def dara because of ñun dañ planoon pour last week ñu ngi andi 4 loo xam ne comme like suñu pocket la jógee dañ planoon pour tam Friday Sunday bi tam ñu andi waat 4 or more waaye comme suñ doole xëy na eggagut 4 parce que ñun buñ tegee ñun foundation bu ñu waxtaanee ba teg tout lañ mun a andeegum this week te tuboo sax fa nekk big problème parce que da ngaa gis naar yi dañ dee mun nañoo jënd like 3 gaal si benn kër ñuy liggéey so 3 gaal so ñun suñ affecté pour andi ñaar kenn a des wax kooku mun naa am psychologie o mun naa disponible so da ngaa gis ni kon bala ñoo meeg beneen xaalis pour kooku andi dafay nekk problème ci condition yooyu lañ toog right now fu mu ne nii ñu ngi bugga sax suñ presse ñu gisante seen boss Mohamed Dia parce que am na koo xam ne ñun ñaar yi lañ andi te des na fa kenn si benn kër gi te dafa loolu li foofu loolu mun naa cause beneen problème jamono boobu loolu lañ nekk di dunda
ok waaye pare ngeen because gis naa organisation yi nga xam ne they're not structured ok waaye ñoom dañ dee make sure ne any donation buñ am comme dañ dee génnee ñu wax ne xaalis bi fii la jógee comme because accountability dafa nekk loo xam ne dafa overla important te si jamono buñ jamono neexatut understand nga so xaw ma na pare ngeen loolu su ko defee ngeen génnee ngeen wax ne transaction bi de mu ngi nii xaalis bi fii la jógee understand nga mu ngi nii because organisation pour mu tegu accountability moo ko sampa
dëgg la
waaw wala di
dëgg la
so ndax yéen pare ngeen loolu pour di génnee seen financial reports yi di wane lii de mu ngi nii because gis nañ ko fi am nañu ko nekk da pare ngeen loolu because am na solo
waaw da ngaa gis ni ñun comme like ñun Fatim Foundation ñun dañ nekk di liggéey ak presse bi ñun lépp loo xam ne step bu ñu def rek presse bi dañ dee xam ni comme def nañ ne suma collègue bi tii sañan daf dee bind mu seeko si presse bi
non comme li ma miin mooy xaalis bi
waaw foofu laay ñëw si xaalis bi kon ñun ticket buñ jëna ñun presse bi dañ ko dee xam képp koo xam ni andi nga wan butut soo ko fa dugalee ñëpp dañ koo yëg
ok da ngeen dee génnee ngeen lii la
waaw ba pare maa ngi woon ni comme ñun even yow soo bëggee sax yow mi nga xam ne da nga willing to help soo bëggee mun nañ laa jox 3 gars yu fa nekk 1 2 loo mun a dimbale nga dina leen ticket nga jox ñu ticket bi ñu andi gars yi ñëw soo bëggee tam su nekkee sa doole amut foofu su nekkee dale si nga am mun nga ñëw call nga teg ko suñu wax ñu teg si because am na ñoo xam ne sax seen famille dañ ñu jox half xaalis ñu aat fa half bi ñu andi gars yi am na ñoo xam ne ñun ñoo provide seen full ticket ñun lépp loo xam ne si lifi nañ ko de ñun dañ dee call presse bi yëpp ñoo day ñëw
waaw xam nga jamono moo soppeeku rek soo gisee ñuy laajte façon laaj tey waaw xam nga rek
léegi dafa am
nu mel
ñu ne prevention is better than cure léegi ba lan ngeen nekk di def pour make sure ngeen educate gars yi fii balaa ñoo jóg fii di dem.
dafa mel ni boobu dañ leen di invité fii su ko defee ngeen ansa boobu noonu at another programme because ñu ne bu fekkul loolu Ibrahima dañ laa dóor so fi mu nekk nii
waaw loolu xam naa ne waaye important na pour at least ñu mun a waxal nit ñi fii pour balaa ñu move ñu dem si dëkk boobu noonu understand you know I think it's better ñu xam soo leen fa demee mun naa am lii ak lii moo leen faa fekka
waaw xam naa bu boobaa dañoo just schedule beneen su ko defee ngeen ñëwaat ñu gën a waxtaan si mbiri yan advocacy ngeen nekk di def comme que organisation bi wax nañ ne sax it's just 1 month old there's a lot of things yi nga xam ne it needs to be put in place right okay looking forward dinañ leen toppa nag seet li ngeen di def 1 month old fii ngeen ko starté ñu seet foo leen di aagi because sometimes ñu gis ñu fi door sax it na duñ leen gisati ñu disappear te bëgguñ loolu waaye dinañ leen toppa di xool si li ngeen nekka so dinañ dem si break bu ndaw waaye dinañ yéen di ngeen ñëwaat incha allah dinañ dem sax si break bu ndaw su ko defee suñ fi dellu si waatee ñu continuer ñu dem seet Omar P Jallow good luck si waaw because dinañ leen toppa nag Ibrahima waaw
absolutely
so dañoo dem rek seet Day of the African Child bi nga xam ne tey la so dinañ dem for a short break and then suñ ñëwatee ñu discuss the Day of the African Child we'll be right back.
Want it? Order for it and pay quickly using Quick Pay on the Q Money platform. With great technology comes ease and convenience. Get a glimpse of what a comfortable life is with Q Money by dialing *323# now. Call 133 for more information. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe.
Money, the biggest mobile money service in the Gambia, has taken mobile banking to the next level. Now, you can link your Q Money wallet with your bank account. Yes, link your Ajib or EcoBank accounts with your Q Money wallet and get instant access to your cash anytime. No need to queue at the bank anymore. Transfer funds from your bank account to your wallet or your wallet to your bank account using Q Money Bank Link is the fastest, most secure and convenient way to transfer funds between your wallet and bank account. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Qcell company bu ëppa client yu ees yu koy jëfandikoo si biir réew mi Qcell am 4G plus coverage bu gën a yaatu si biir réew mi internet bu gën a gaaw ñetti yoon naataangoom yi kon nag toxul léegi dal di dial *335# dal di bànneexu 4G bu dëggantaan Qcell network yi Gambia bu ñu gën a wóolu.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. And now to continue the conversation we already started with Mr. Mboj, because we spent most of our time on the newspaper review discussing the Day of the African Child. Now to further discuss it in depth, we're joined by a representative here to help us further talk about celebrating the Day of the African Child from the National Association of Early Childhood Educators. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so generally, what does the National Association of Early Childhood Education seek to achieve? Obviously, the name tells it all, but I'm sure there are a few elements that you can add to it.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, the association has been in existence for quite a while. It's been, this will be its 30th.
30?
Yeah.
30.
Yeah, 30
Amazing.
years since its establishment by our mothers and our pioneers, like you could name but a few. Miss Ndao, who everybody knows, and you have Evelyn Dow as well, and Madam Jazi. And then even the current the president as well was one of the pioneers of the Association of Early Childhood Educators.
Okay,
and
the current vice president.
Well, and all three of them are already late. We only have few of them that are alive. That is Lison Chapmanba, the owner or the proprietors of Mary's Little Lamb, and Maria Maseka Dabo, the current president. So they've did a lot over the years, which is one, advocacy is part of it. I'm trying to bring schools together, making sure there is standard and quality, especially advocating for early childhood education, because we could all know how a nursery school is being viewed previously. Most people will call it nonsense school, or school that are like wasting the kids' time. But with this association, they've advocated so much so that people are aware that early education is very important. And with that, we've seen there are other things that since now parents are sending their children to early education, which is very, very important at a very early age. Kids' brain needs to grow, and it should grow positively into, so that we could integrate them into positive societies. It could avoid so many things that would happen into the future. So with that, early education, they did very well, making sure and ensuring that there are a lot of early childhood centers and well trained as well. Over the years, they have worked on capacity building.
Yeah, I was actually going to come to that, you know, the issue of capacity building. Reason being, like you mentioned, early childhood, nursery school is, you know, there's a certain view that people had, which is changing. But generally, when it comes to capacity building, you know, the teachers we are talking about, there's the general notion, you know, grade 12, there must a nursery school being out for part-time job without even going through the right process. So, you know, just take us through that. How are you ensuring that that narrative changes?
Thank you very much for that. Over the years, the association or the past executive have did did tremendously very well to see the former PS, who is Babukar Boy at the time, so to ask for assistance so that we could send teachers to the Gambia College. And there was this scholarship for over 3 years. I am one of those ones that is lucky to benefit from that scholarship. So over hundreds of teachers have been benefiting from that scholarship, and they were trained at the Gambia College. As well as there are workshops, trainings that are done and for teachers quarterly, semi-annually or annually every year. That we have zonals as well. There are zones that are working with the association. So you have the body, and then you have zonal members as well. Like the region 1 is divided into 6 zones. You have zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and you have the regions as region 1, 2, 3. So there are trainings that usually happens with the coordination of these zones from the association itself, so that there are teachers' capacities are built on teaching and learning, the basic training for making first aid material, not first aid materials as well, teaching aids as well. So all these trainings have been done at the regional level and at the zonal levels.
But again, do you think there's proper regulation in place to control early childhood educators, as in nursery schools? You know, when you primary schools, you know, they have their cluster monitors, you know, all of these things. Like, it's structured. You know that you're under this, and this is how you're supposed to act. But, you know, nursery schools, do you think really they're regulated come the way the other schools going
Someone
up?
supervising
yes.
them? Or
Actually, there is a little gap in that.
Okay.
We're working to make sure that gap is being filled, but there is a standard.
How huge is the gap?
Not very huge, because we have to engage the stakeholders on those areas so that it is being done. We've been having courtesy calls to the former peers for ECD schools to have cluster monitors, as well as ECD to be introduced at the higher education, which is at the University of the Gambia, because we don't have it as of now. So all those things are important, but we have minimum standard for ECD schools, whereas that standard has to be met, and that is being given out by the government. So ECD schools has to work towards that to make sure those standards, if there is substandard, your school might be closed. And that could reflect my mind in 2013, when many schools were closed because of substandardness of their status of operations. So the association came in, ensure that schools had met the standard and they were reopened as well.
And tell us about the age range. When you talk about early education, what is the age range? I mean, is the daycare part of this?
Early education, actually, we would say, okay, this is going to school. That is another phase. But early education starts way before going to school. It starts with even the mother. When the child is in the mother's belly. That is why you start reading and then singing to the child. They communicate with the outer world. This is very, very important. And this develop their brain in brain development. And this takes place within 9 months. And this is very, very important. And then when it comes to the daycare, this is 0 to 6 years. And this is what we look at. You look at 0 to 6. And this 0 age is very, as well, very crucial. But usually we have people sending their kids daycare, which is at the age of 1 year or 6 months, something like that. But many send their kids or their child to school at the age of 3. And then they are at the nursery school from 3 years to 6 years, and then they they will actually graduate to the primary school, which is pre. And what ECD is a whole holistic approach, which is a whole holistic development. That really matters on how even society educates. So it's not only about taking them to school early, but how do our society as well educate the child into the society, which we have 4 schools, which you have the environment, the school, the home, and the community.
Okay, so quickly, we have a few minutes to go. How is the Early Childhood Educators Association celebrating the International Day of the African Child this year?
Well, this is our first time doing the...
Oh, it is?
Yes,
it is.
we have been existing
for over 30 years.
Yes.
And today is the first time.
Today is the first time.
Why is that?
Well, probably we are not very much in cognizance of what really we're supposed to do in relations to this day. So we are actually newly elected into office, just 1 year, 2 years, but COVID have taken most of our time.
Right.
So we could not do much. So because of the current executive are very much cognizant of what is really needs to be done. So we are looking at this day, because this day happens, we all know the history, which is at Soweto. And then the uprising with Hector Petersons and the others, over 500 kids were killed. Just for one reason, advocacy for early, for education and for their right. But education was key, and then quality to education. And we are a center that is in the center of everything, that is in the myth of education. So it is prudent or important for us to look at this day and celebrate, and as well as meet lawmakers, because this day is very, very important. It's the name speaks it all, the Day of the African Child. So we could make the lawmakers and then even meet government and advocate for a day like this to be really observed very well.
While you're talking and I'm sitting here listening to everything that you've said and connecting the dots, I feel like you are that organization that should take it seriously and celebrate it every year. Reason being, there's a gap when it comes to quality. When in Soweto, why were these children out to advocate education?
Quality education.
Rights, you know. So I think as an organization, taking it up this year, it's quite related. You know, you did the right thing by just taking it up and doing it, considering already there is a gap when it comes to early childhood education quality, which we have been pointing at since we started this conversation.
I cannot agree much.
Exactly.
That's why the theme speaks it all, in harmful practices affecting children. And this is very important. This is like you looked at FGM, you look at child abuse, rights violation. They have dreams and they have future. And these dreams and futures are hopes and beliefs and loves that they have to live with. Community comes to play, stakeholders comes to play, parent comes to play. So it is a huge area that is being left alone, and then it's an area that we all have to look at, which is education. That's why the last panel that you have here talked of education. It starts from the grassroots. It starts from as early as 0, as early as 3. Tell them you cannot use the illegal migration to go to the back way. You could use this, you could do this. But if that education is lacking, you are desperate. And whenever you're desperate, you take desperate decisions. And this is what is affecting our young people, doing desperate things just to achieve something in this world.
But you know, this can only happen as well when the right people are there to tell them. you know, if we have like yourself in all of these schools, someone like you, then we can achieve it. You know, that is why we're pointing at the quality every single time. But I think, you know, this association and its existence really is very good. And, you know, the fact that you have taken it upon yourself for the first time to really celebrate the Day of the African Child in connection to already existing gaps is a good thing. So, you know, what do you have to tell government or other institutions in relation to really changing the current situation when it comes to early childhood education in the country?
There is a lot that we have to look at as a government, and then early years education is the stepping stone to development, and it cannot be neglected or ignored. So there should be a lot of emphasis, and there is a lot of hard work coming from the hierarchy of the government, which is from the cabinet down to everybody, so that there is this education. We took this program upon ourselves without having any sponsors from anybody. Our schools did their contribution so that we could be able to celebrate this day. When we wrote to offices, and then there was no response for any sponsor, and they say, okay, what do we do? The president said, we just carry on. We just need to carry on with this day, and so we can start with one. At the end of the day, it will multiply. So we want the government and all stakeholders to come to the aid of young children, not to the aid of schools, but the young. That's what we are, that we have in our society, so that we will be able to have a positive society, so that we will be able to have meaningful development. In the lack of positive society and kids growing, we will not have meaningful development. It will not come because the education is not there. So we want everybody to join us so that we can do this together.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. And you know, we've talked about this on this platform before, and you know, the guests we had said, Jenaba, so again is a bit maybe you do, but I was like, you know, sometimes you have to be blunt about these things. Sometimes you talk to the younger ones, what do you want to become? None of them will boldly tell you that I want to become a teacher, because of some of the things that are attached. You know, the incentives are not there, the benefits are not there. So already there's this notion that you can only be a teacher if you don't have the required credits to get into the university. Then you see your parents or people around you tell you, "Demal si college binga def teaching." So at that point in time, it's not a passion anymore. You're doing it because you do not have the credits to do whatever passion that you had. So you're just getting into it because of nyaka pehe. So we want that to change. We want people to get into teaching because they want to do it and they love to do it. Passion. I think it's important that we highlight that. But yes, so we will now go for a short commercial break now. Thank you so much for the work that you do. We really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to another engagement. We'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll head right on to discussing National Assembly members' salaries as well as benefits. So we'll be joined by Kek Sane, a journalist who has for so long been covering National Assembly proceedings to help us further understand this current trend. We'll be right back.
Want it? Order for it and pay quickly using Quick Pay on the Q Money platform. With great technology comes ease and convenience. Get a glimpse of what a comfortable life is with Q Money by dialing *323# now. Call 133 for more information. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe.
QCell, GSM company minna yirwa tariata Gambia Bankoka. QCell la 4G plus network ya banko bela mura. Andung ala internet o tariata sidula saba katambi nyongola. Saun sahin, yesta 335# kumandi. Yadati kemuna fang 4G sobe wala. QCell, Gambia la network lanna yaringo.
Q Money, the biggest mobile money service in the Gambia, has taken mobile banking to the next level. Now, you can link your Q Money wallet with your bank account.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. So now we're going ahead to discuss National Assembly members' salaries and benefits, and we're joined by a journalist, Keksane, that has been covering National Assembly proceedings for so long. You know, all of the live live coverages, you know, that we've been seeing, or instances where you need a clarification when it comes to proceedings. He is your go-to person. So I think it is important that we have him here to, you know, share his opinion when it comes to the current trend, when it comes to benefits that National Assembly members will get to have. Thank you so much for joining us, Keks. So first of all, we know that, you know, National Assembly members will be given $1 million, you know, vehicle loan, of which 50% will be paid by the National Assembly and the other half by the National Assembly members from their monthly salaries. So we'll take these things step by step and get to understand them and understand your opinion when it comes to all of these things, you know, as we go by, as the conversation goes by. So first of all, we're talking about vehicles here, vehicles that the National Assembly members are supposed to use. $1 million is involved, half paid by the National Assembly, half paid by the National Assembly member through their monthly salaries. First of all, what's your take on that?
Yeah, just a point of clarification. I'm sure the journalists that actually captured the whole issue didn't know the amount that is involved, but it's more than $1 million.
Okay, but let's just say around that.
Around $1 million. Yeah, and this has been because if you check the previous fifth legislation, there was a vehicle that was given to the National Assembly members by the president. And, you know, we feel like these are the people that should hold government accountable or the executive accountable. So if they can receive gifts from the executive, it will be very difficult for them to hold them accountable, and we don't know the source. And the National Assembly has the power to allocate anything for since they approve budget. So when they requested for what we call the autonomy, because the National Assembly before they were under the Ministry of Fisheries, normally you had them National Assembly, the Minister of Fisheries and National Assembly members, and they struggle to have an autonomy that's like the IEC. How is it? IEC is not under any executive. When they draft their budget, when it goes to the president, he has no power to even cut a single budget from their budget. They present it to the president, he takes it to the National Assembly members for approval. They are the ones who will look at and justify whether they need it, but the president has no power. So the National Assembly to push to have that autonomy like the judicial, how the judicial is. So now they are independent. They design their own budget and they take it to the president. And when they design their budget for 2022, they included these vehicles there, you know, mobility there has that each National Assembly member should have a vehicle so that it will make it easy for them to come to work. And they have put it in the budget, and this clerk of the National Assembly do the tendering of companies who will provide these vehicles. And I think so far they have gone too far. The company that will supply the 58 vehicles is already been identified. We are just waiting for the vehicles to arrive, and they share that 50% will be paid by the National Assembly service, while the all remaining 50% will be paid by the National Assembly members as they go on before the end of their 5-year term. It will be deducted from their basic.
But Keks, remember when National Assembly members were given vehicles and it was unknown where these vehicles are coming from, but it was given to them by the government? A lot of people frowned at it. Am I right? Can you remember that scenario? So now it's about giving them a loan. Okay, it's transparent, it's known. So I'm trying to balance these two here. So what do you think should be done then? Because at the end of the day, mobility for you, what do you think? How do you measure its importance? Because they have to go back to their people to talk to them and all of that. They have to move around. So I just want to understand what your take is on the general issue when it comes to National Assembly members having vehicles for their movement.
Yeah, for me, it's important in terms of the work that they do and the constituency, like where they are coming from, and normally they will go. But you look at, sometimes you just don't do things, but you look at the economic situation of the country at the time, whether it is the #1 priority as we are moving on, or whether it is not. For me, at this present moment, if I was the National Assembly, we will have put aside and have what we call, because most of them stays in the combos here. They normally comes to work here in the combos and move from. So why not have a staff boss that will pick from various locations for now and have only one vehicle. And I think there are committee buses that are available in the National Assembly for now. But, you know, it's something that is legal since it's captured in the 2020 budget. You know, we don't have nothing to question because they follow all the legal procedures, you know, to acquire these things. So we will just say that, okay, it's different from the one that happens when the president will just come from an anonymous donor and just give you a vehicle. This one has follow all the due process of law captured in the budget and approved by the National Assembly members, you know, and it's been part of their budget, and they are even committing them. In other places, the state will provide you the vehicle, but in this scenario, they said, okay, based on the economic situation, you will pay 50% and the state will pay the 50%. So for me, I can see it is something justifiable, but whether actually at this present moment, we definitely, that's the #1 priority, something that we could question. And the vehicles are not small amount. At least we are having rumors of $1.8 million for one
allegedly,
and allegedly, and 58 times by 58 members, because the speaker have an official vehicle that is there, 2 of them utility and that of them, so he is not employed, but you have 58 of them will have this vehicle, so automatically it's a huge amount of money. But actually it is law and it's accepted by the National Assembly, and when the National Assembly, whatever works there, or whatever they accept in the National Assembly, it means that the whole Gambia has accepted it, because each
they are the ones
representing each constituency. So that's why when they speak on behalf of all of us. So it's all of us who have accepted them to be provided with the vehicles.
So what are you trying to say, Kex? Are you saying that maybe the National Assembly, for their own budget, I know it's impossible, you know, because it is the National Assembly. It is where these things are accepted. So are you trying to say that, you know, when they come up with their own budget, there should be some form of scrutiny by an independent? But I'm just, you know, just
no,
thinking,
definitely, because
which is impossible. But I'm just thinking, you know, just thinking out loud here.
Yeah, definitely. Now it looks like
because it's their own budget and accepted on their own.
It looks like you have the bread and you have the knife.
I know.
You just feel like we are to cut it. So at this situation, when they have this autonomy, now they have controlled the bread and they control the knife. Wherever they want to cut, that's where nobody will question it. Because when you present it to the president has no authority to even remove a single budget from the budget that you presented to them. He just take it through the Minister of Finance to the National Assembly. And it's you, the National Assembly members, who have inserted what he wants to benefit. So at the end of the day, you have already discussed before even taking it to the president or even including it in the budget. So automatically when this comes, we don't expect anything to be reduced from those things. So
well, I've heard something. I mean, I don't know how true it is. I mean, when it comes to their salaries too, I mean, there'll be a payment of $45,000 a month. Is that true? Okay.
Yeah, that's new. Before this 5th legislation, we are receiving $40,000 every 30 days. But when this new national, like the autonomy, they increase the 5%, they add 5,000 there, so make it $45,000 every 30 days.
Is that the net salary or the gross?
That's the monthly salary. Then
that's the monthly salary.
$554,000 the 1 year. So you multiply it by 5 years, it gives you the total what actually they will be receiving. But in 1 year, they will be receiving $540,000. That's why that's more than almost $500,000 every 12 months. That's what we'll be receiving. So the speakers, normally, they are the highest ranking. They receive $65,000 every 30, and the deputy speaker. So the normal members will be receiving $45,000. Yes, this has been the new increasement that has been taking place in the new National Assembly. Before it was $45,000, and there was no budget for the vehicles and other things, but now it is there, you know, because of the autonomy that they have now. They have inserted all these things into their budget.
Well, at some point, I think many people will talk about the vehicle. I mean, the prices tied to these vehicles are very expensive. But Kex, actually, if you are a National Assembly member, my friend, I mean, I mean, from where I'm seeing you, if at all I am a National Assembly member, I'm representing a particular constituency, I mean, you don't expect me to drive in a small vehicle.
No. Balde, are you thinking this way?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
They vote alone, def la National Assembly.
I'm thinking that way.
Just pretend. That's how pretend you did not hear that.
Allow Kex to come in.
No, actually, you know, sometimes, you know, we should see the role of the National Assembly in this context. You know, what is the role of the National? These are people that should hold oversight over millions of dollars that the executive. Like presently, we have seen the Minister of Tourism been given almost $65 million, you know, as a loan. And these are the National Assembly that should hold oversight how those money will be implemented. So if these people are paying pittance, it will be very difficult for them to hold them accountable, because at the end of the day, you go to a minister who is having millions millions of, and you want to hold oversight to him, it's easily there's a slight chance of you can be bribed not to do your work. So this is why we have to see, you know, the National Assembly should. That's why the law is even. They said all what they need, you know, should be provided. That's why the law gives them all guarantees. They give them all the immunities that they need, so that they will have a free mind to do their work like this, so that they will not have any thinking of having a fixed money problem in their house, you know, thinking of, you know, family, school fees and other things. That's why the states give them all the immunities that they will have all the necessary, so that they will do their work. So now the question is, we have to hold the National Assembly accountable after receiving all these benefits and all these things to do the work that is expected of them by holding the executive accountable in the whole issue. I even see that, you know, this is the budget that was, the loan that was given to the minister, you know, I saw it on the, and that means they have accepted it. But the law is saying that the government cannot go into any agreement without the approval of the National Assembly. But I didn't see any National Assembly member who questioned or called the minister, why are you announcing this when you didn't come before us for approval? Because we have to approve it before you even accept this thing. So these are things that I think...
So which means a National Assembly of a country defines the way a country operates at the end of the day. So there's this clothing allowance that we need to talk about.
Excuse me, Jennifer. That's what I am saying. I mean, like they have the authority to do certain things. That's why they should be given all the necessary things to make sure they are satisfied. You understand? So this is what I am saying. Now you can come into the
but mom limu wax moy bo nekké National Assembly member nga tok fa lutax ngay jox sa bop less
tay suma nekkon National Assembly member understand nga I know, I mean, my responsibility is to stand for my country, to make sure things work right in my country. On a serious note, National Assembly members too should not be left like that. I mean, otherwise there will be corruption.
There will be, but also on the other hand, the argument is that it has to be minimal. It has to be considered going by economic realities of a specific country.
Economic realities I accept, but if you considering the way things are working globally, I mean, talking about $1 million, 1 million is nothing, Kex.
Yeah, but we are talking about not global. See, we are talking about
exactly
our economic challenges. That is what others
I know, but when you consider, I mean, I mean, all that we spend, then could they equalize to the dollar or any other foreign currency?
Even so, for equalizer, it has to reflect the realities in your sadika.
It's not the problem of the country only. This is a global problem. Things are very expensive. So, so in 1 million, you think 1 million is a lot of money. 1 million is not a lot of money.
The issue is that why Gambia be fee?
How we generate revenue in this country, where compared to other places, we rely solely on tax. It's from you and me that we gather and we provide service for the state. Compared to if you go to Ghana, like if you want to compare the Ghana parliamentarians, what they are, you look at Ghana is producing cocoa. They are producing so many mineral resources there, and cocoa and other things. So they have another source of income generated. But for us, it's a tax-based economy or loans and grants. So these are the issues. So you look at the economic realities of the country, maybe the certain things you forgo them for a period to lay the foundation. And
so Kex, quickly, let's talk about, before we go, the clothing allowance. You know, do you think it's needed? You've been covering parliamentary elections for so long. So do you think at that time, while you were covering it, they were dressing corporate or right at a time?
No, they
compared to now. I'm just asking, like what prompted to try to understand why it is needed for a clothing allowance? Or is it because when they travel to the ECOWAS Parliament or the African Parliament, that's when they need it to look extra good?
No, actually, for me, the reasons what they are forwarded for me, the National Assembly, they have a mode of dressing that you normally go with kaftan or a course. Jeans are not allowed in the National Assembly and other things. So for them, since they compel them, you know, the mode of dress they will do, then it's the duty of the National Assembly service to provide them the clothes that since they have imposed on them that these are the types of clothes that you will wear. So based on that, they should give you. But if you look at the 5th legislation, this came this year, the 20th, but they were coming and they have adhered to the rules and the regulations. They were not coming with jeans and other things. They were dressing nice, and they go to ECOWAS Parliament, Pan-African Parliament, APC Parliament, and nobody has ever questioned it. So at this material time, whether it's actually justifiable to say that, okay, let's give them 100,000 for 5 years, you know, to provide clothes. I think somebody who is receiving $45,000 every session, extraordinary, you are receiving $30,000 or $25,000. Every committee session, you are receiving $2,500 every sitting, and you have other benefits. I think that you could have provided at least every month to So take $10,000 or $5,000 from your $45,000 to buy at least 2 or 3 clothes for yourself. Before the 5 years, at least your wardrobe will be well equipped, to go on. I don't think the state should provide all those things, but they justify that, they need it because they have imposed on them the type of clothes they will wear. So
Kex, in 30 seconds, just tell me, as a journalist, how do you feel covering the National Assembly? A lot of journalists run away from the National Assembly. To some, it's boring. To some, it's challenging. To some, they do not understand the language. So just quickly, before you leave, in a few seconds, tell me why and how it feels.
Yeah, for me, it's a passion because I believe it's the nerve center of this nation. National Assembly is very important, and people start to neglect it. That's why I take it upon myself, but it's something that is very challenging because normally you go to National Assembly since in the morning, 9 o'clock, you sit there for the whole day because when budget sessions are there, you are almost there up to the following day. You work 24 hours, so people don't have, I see journalists will come, by 9 or 10 o'clock, 11 they just left and go. So it's very challenging, and you sit there for the whole of the day. Some of the issues there, food is not provided for you, you have to struggle on your own, and the shops are very far away. Sometimes you go to their chicken, they will tell you that no, it's only for the NAMs, or only few journalists are recognized. The GRTS is the only one, or the ones are only the ones that we will care for. So sometimes it is challenging, and you have to understand it. The language of the parliament, the language of normal is totally different. Sometimes you use other terms, it means different in terms of National Assembly. So sometimes,
Anyway, I'll come to you for lectures. I think I've covered National Assembly twice. But anyway, we have the likes of Aliou Cisse here, who's permanently there as you. But anyway, thank you so much, Keksana, for willing to come here, out of your busy schedule to join us and have this conversation with us. And keep telling us what is happening at the National Assembly.
It's a pleasure.
All right, thank you so much. All right, thank you. So yeah, so now we will head right on to Omar P. Jallo is on the line, I'm told, and Omar P. Jallo will be speaking to basket weavers on Kairaba Avenue. So Omar P. Jallo, if you're there, please tell us what's happening there, and also what are these weavers saying. Is Omar P. Jallo there?
Like you said in the introduction, I am here on Kairaba Avenue with one Pa Ibu Kebe, who is a well-known basket weaver here on Kairaba Avenue. According to him, he's been into this business for over 40 years because he's been into it since 1981. And he's still into the business, and he believes he is making profit, and he is ready to continue weaving baskets and a lot of other things and to be able to make a livelihood for himself and his family. So we'll be talking to Pa Ibu to take us through what he's doing and when he started, what some of the challenges and what actually are some of the things he's able to make out of these raw materials that he said he is not able to get for himself now. He have to get people to help him get them from the bush and to buy it from them. Pa Ibu, comme mbokk yi ñu nekk di déglu ñu ngi ni toog ak Pa Ibu Kebe aka Pa bu ñaaw bu ga xaalis. Pa bu ñaaw ñu ngi ni tey ñëw nañ sa place pour waxtaan ak yow. Tey nag ñu fekk yaa ngi def defar ay sinsing. Wax ñu tuuti si defar sinsing bi kañ nga ko start ak naka la liggéey bi nekk di demee.
Liggéey bi dañu ci koom di try rek waaye yàgg nañ koo def nag wax dëgg yàlla ca 70 daal laa ko commencé woon waaye nag xam nga ku demut school du mën a xam selli waaye 1981 daal laa bàyyi dem tool bàyyi lépp noor ci nawet ba léegi nii yàlla ñu ci sutural loolu mooy suñ yem ci kii bi bëgg nañoo am nag ñu ko jàng wax naa ko ay yoon waaye kam ñama day wax du sotti waxoon naa fekk nit pour ñu ubbi benn place comme école ni technical school yi mel def fa basket xale yi jàng ko.
kay loolu dina nekk suma second question bi bëggoon naa xam ndax ndaw yi ñu ngi ñëw pour jàng si yow ndax am nga apprenti ndax am nga ay ndaw ñu ñëw si yow pour nga jàngal leen métier bi.
non nangu ñëw jàng si métier bi ndaxte lii problème bi xale léegi bëggatuñ ëllëg tey rek lañ soxla jooni nekk léegi te boo sama doom yi ma jur sama bopp sax ñoom am na ci ñoo xam ne boo leen yónnee ne am yóbbul ma pañe place sangam dañ ko war a rus a téye te nag wax dëgg yàlla depuis ci lañ juddu waaw ci pañe yi ci lañ juddu buñ leen di ngénte suñu xamee luñ ko ngénte ci lañ koy def su fekkee xamuñ doole ngénte waxat wala doomel ñu def ko ca ci la ñoo lekk ci la ñoo jëm fay suñu liyaas waaw.
Baye bu gis nañ fi bagage yu bari mun nga ñu limal lan ak lan nga dee mun a liggéey si ñax yi.
si bant bi daal macha allah bant bu barkeel la te it mun naa cee liggéey yu bëree bëri.
comme yu mel lan.
xam nga lii pañe pour def mees la jigéen ñi de jàng ñaw mees mën nañ koo ñëwee mees ki jënd mees bi mën na ko cee sol musóor ko ba du pënde bii ki nga xam ne dafay dem ci ceet ga ñu ne falaawa gaal daf koy jënd bii nii ci sama kanam mooy xàngel lamp ba en restaurant yu bëri ak hôtel yu bëri ba dee fekk leen fa waaw modèle bu nekk na daf cee am bii ci olof turu olof ñun amaluñ ko tur bu fekkee tur bañ fañ ko jëlee woon la ci français la nuwane lañ ko tuddee nuwane nag ci français mooy juddu bu ees boo amaan soxna mu am doom da ngay jënd pañe bii ne nuwane dafa ay powdo ay bagaas yi xale yëpp yóbbu seeti sa doom ñu tuddee ko nuwane àddina di dem ba suñ mbokki Nigerian Ghanaian Puerto-Rican Liberian si ñëw fi indi ko tuddee ko xam pa basket fi mu nekk nii bu ma waree takk jabar wala ma takk jabar ba pare war a yóbbu teranga añ ak reer añ bi ci suma kër jaati goro dafa ay banana pomme mandarin raisin yëpp pour ko def ko fruit ba mu fee daal ma teg ko ci kaw teranga ji bu nga lekkee ba pare teg ko fa fañe du ñibbi su ma la ko indilee dara ko bàyyi ñi ko jënd ci hôtel bi ñu ko joxee bañ ko baa ba ki ko jënd def ko ci même ñoom après rek kii seen bañ ko daan jënd comme yoon ñëpp dañ ko daan jënd waaye nag léegi jamono bi daal dafa am lu ko yàq loolu moom nañ ko bàyyi rek mu jàll.
ok léegi ñu seet bu mag bi nag moom luy njëriñam.
bu mag bi kenn njëriñam xam nga ko bii moom ca ñun de ca jamono suñu jamono kenn du muur seet amul lii de mooy boo daa muuri seet daf koy xam jaami jigéen bi xenu ko jaam bu góor ba xenu waxande kële xenu gën lii moo daan jamono armoire booba léegi nag fi mu nekk armoire xew ak kamoot waaye lii képp kuy muur seet ñun danga ko war a am dañ ko muuree.
léegi ñu seet si utum ñax mi naka ngeen dee amee sibi because lii xam naa gisuma foo ko mun a jëlee si boori Serekunda fii Kane fii
that's Omar P Jallow there Omar P mu ngi noonu ak suñu maam boobu noonu nga xam ne mu ne yenu mu ne da nga yenu bi ñi yenu yi ñi wàcce yi ñi yenu yi
mu ne pa bu ñaaw la tudda buga xaalis
so yes so
nice, interesting.
Tune in at 8 p.m. on QTV News if you want to have more information on how it's made and all of that. You can tune in to get to know that. So that is all we have time for today. So till we come your way next week, hopefully Ibrahima naa fi mën a toog next week.
Wow, inshallah. So soobee yàlla.
Wow. We'll be right back. Join us next week. Bye.
a system of white minority domination, humanity will have ensured that never again shall the scourge of racial tyranny raise its ugly head.
Chilem nga wute ñoom ci xel nga wute ude num la gisee noonu la lay awale ayo ya gore ci jom nga wute ñoom jàmbaar nga wane àdduna bi gis nañ tey ji ñu ngi bëggee Papa Mandela may woo jàmbaar nga waa ko daal yow am di ku ñàkk may wax jàmbaar nga wax ko daal yow am di ku ñàkk man duma sonn ci naaw yem na ma sun la tuddee damay di la way yow fu ma dem la ndamoo gis ni jàmm war a am xam ni suba ngi ñëw xam ni lu waay rendi ci loxoom ngay naat li tax jàmm war a am South Africa suñu réewa nguuru yàlla rek a dul jeex Mandela cooli moom mooy daal fii suñu Afrika la gàcce nga la ma jàmbar yaa des